Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week we're on episode number 22.
No way.
No way. And we are talking about the 1960s this week.
No way.
I know. Anyway, stick around if you want to hear more. Right. Before we go any further,
Yes.
let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Right.
Huge elephant.
Huge elephant.
Don't know why I haven't seen it.
Wonder what
Already
that
mentioned
smell
it.
was.
Yeah. And let's also talk about you, because just so everyone is aware,
Yeah.
Dad has been quite ill this last week.
Yeah, so I've been slightly under the weather. I've been off and, yeah, I haven't felt great. Still don't feel 100% at all, but
So
yeah.
You may notice that his voice is actually like a couple of octaves lower.
A little bit sexier than it normally is,
Yeah.
and that's saying something.
Right. Not those voices that you did in the Murder Mystery.
Yeah, you loved them.
No,
especially
I did
one
not.
of them.
No. Anyway, so yeah, he's not feeling that great. What I will say, though, is he's had quite a bad cough. He's been tested. He hasn't got COVID or anything.
I haven't, no.
No. But that's why we're in a very small space together. But he has got a cough. Now, I'm going to do my best to try and get rid of some of them if he has like a coughing fit or something like that. But just as pre-warning, he may cough.
I will try not to.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll try and signal if I'm going to, and then we'll just
Take
make
a
a little
moment.
noise or something and then come back in
What
again.
noise would you like to make?
I don't know. We'll think about it. And then a coughing noise.
Yeah, coughing
That'd be
noise.
really good. Really
Yeah.
good.
Really easy
Defeat
to
the
spot.
point. Yes, but no, it's one of those things. It's just I haven't felt good. No, I don't feel very good today. But there we go.
We've held up recording the podcast. And
we have because of it. But
and Father's Day.
and Father's Day as well.
That happened.
You yourself, only
I'm
yesterday.
incredibly unwell.
No, only yesterday you had your first jab.
Yeah.
So that's quite significant as well. So
I've been vaccinated.
because you did make a bit of a sort of fuss when you went to pull the blinds down because your arm had to lift your arm up. So hopefully you'll
lifted
get
up
through
my
it.
left
So if you
arm
need to
and it
stop
ached.
because your arm's hurting,
Yeah.
we'll just
We'll make a
signal
little
to
noise.
me, not with your arm up, obviously, because you won't be able to do that. But
No.
yeah, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
No, it's only my arm that's been hurting though. It has
Yeah.
been aching all day, and that's quite normal. I'm waiting for the superpowers to start happening though.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
What kind of superpowers do you think I'll
Well, I'm
get?
really good at coughing now.
You are,
after
yeah.
having my second one. Yeah. So yeah, cough man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They just call you
Phlegm
cough.
boy. Yeah, the cough.
That's why people...
Don't, because now we're talking about
That's
it.
why people...
Suddenly I feel like I've got a cough. So let's
That's
kick
why
on.
people walk up to you in the street and go, cough.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's
I
same with you.
think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it happens a lot.
Anyway, this week's episode.
Yes.
Let's move on to that, because this is what everyone's flooding in for.
Yeah.
This episode.
Yeah.
So this week's episode, the 1960s. Why did we pick the 1960s, Dad? What
Well-
a strange time to pick.
Well, you picked the 1960s,
I
or
picked it,
suggested
yeah.
it, because, it's all about me at the moment
It
on
is
these
all about you.
podcasts, but when this goes out, it will be my birthday. And I was born in 1968.
You're how old?
I am 52 as we stand, and I will be 53 on the day this goes out.
Sunday, the 27th of
yeah.
June,
Absolutely.
2021.
Yeah, just in case this has got lost in
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
so
Lost in
you
time.
suggested we talk about the decade I was born. Slightly worried about that because obviously I was 1 and 2 in that decade. Probably the 70s is when I start to remember things, but I'll give it a go. And certainly there were some
Bit
significant
pathetic,
things.
you're not remembering things, isn't it?
I don't remember anything. You know I don't remember anything, but there's some significant things that went on in the 60s.
Yeah.
I certainly remember around that time how things were and how things differ from now. So I guess that's where our starting point is.
Yeah, everything was in black and white back then as well, wasn't
It
it?
certainly was in black and white.
Yeah.
And starting with
When
that...
was colour invented?
Well, it's a weird thing with all this stuff. I know what you're saying. I mean, obviously there was colour. It's just that everything else that you saw was black and white.
Prove it.
Prove it. Oh, shut up. I'm not well. Shut up. But now you've thrown me completely. I remember the first TV programme I saw on a colour TV.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you. I was in in my junior school, so that would be what, from 7 till 11.
This sounds like the 1970s. But
Yes,
go
no,
ahead.
no.
Go
But
ahead.
that, as you've mentioned that, and the first one I ever saw, I rushed home at lunchtime from school, where I didn't have to rush that far because I
You lived up the road, yeah.
opposite it. And Rainbow was the first thing I saw.
That's quite
and obviously,
suited.
yes, and obviously I had no idea that George was pink and Zippy was orange, you know. So it was a big deal, and I remember that coming in and going, wow, it blew my mind.
See, this is the kind of thing, though, because nowadays, even if things were in black and white, there'd be so much merchandise around that you would know what colour they are.
That's very true, and I think another example would be Bagpuss. I don't think I realised what colour Bagpuss was, and I'm not even 100% sure I knew until they actually produced. I saw an actual one of these sort of beanie sort of things.
Yeah.
First colour TV I saw, or when I used to see things on colour TV, was my granddad's TV, and we should go round there and watch the big match on a Sunday or something like that. And that was in colour, and that was amazing.
Yeah, because it made it easier to spot the teams then, didn't it?
Yeah. It was, it was a little bit. But, you know, it's things like that. I guess when I started looking back at it and thinking about that period of time, and I thought, well, what are the significant things that happen now? So, for instance, TVs, right? So we had a TV. It would have been a rented TV from Rediffusion, but it was black and white.
That's quite common, though, because back then, it's actually... It still happens, but it's very uncommon now for people to rent appliances
It's
and
unusual
furniture and
now.
stuff like that.
It's unusual
but
now.
That was more common back then,
They're
wasn't
pretty
it?
much... I mean, it's still an amount of money, but things are bought
The cost
as a throwaway sort of thing.
the average wage has gone up as well, isn't it?
But we had that rented, so that would... And obviously, that would have had BBC One, BBC Two...
Watch both of those.
And ITV.
Watch that as well.
And that's it, right? So ITV would have been whatever region you're in, and that, I mean, that's slightly the same. Even BBC's a bit like that now. You will have your regional news, but you'd certainly have certain programmes as well. But, you know, when you think of it, it's mad. When you watch TV at 12 o'clock...
Did it have adverts on TV back then?
Yeah. ITV has always been...
Yeah.
That's the whole point. That was always... BBC was always funded, and ITV is through advertising that it runs. So I always preferred BBC, but that used to stop, as did ITV, but that used to stop. I'm not even sure BBC Two used to run all day. Probably had a test card for much of the day until a certain time, which was the little girl with the chalk and the clown and that. Do you remember that? You've probably seen pictures of that. But it finished at 12, or finished nearer to midnight.
Might have accidentally knocked into my mic a little bit there.
Oh, no, don't you worry about that. And then they used to play the national anthem. Now, obviously,
Interesting.
in the 60s, I probably wouldn't have been up at that time.
Just throughout the night?
Unless I had one of my epic nightmares I used to have. At that time night, they'd play the national anthem, and then it'd just go. That would be it. Look, white dot, and that would finish until the morning.
Oh, they wouldn't just play on loop?
No, that's it. That's all
See,
you get.
we hear the national anthem then a lot less than we used to.
Probably, yeah. But that, I mean, now you think about that, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've got 24-hour news, you've got 24-hour TV.
There are some channels that would cut off at certain times still.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, the one I am thinking of is BBC Three, however, that's not on the air anymore.
No, that was one of my favourite channels as well for quite a while.
Yeah, it's coming back though, isn't it?
Oh, who knows? But yeah, and I mean, it's the fact that the sheer quantity of channels. You know, it was always that not even at that time, but the US had all these channels, and when people said, "Oh, we'll have this," we had started getting things like Channel 4 and then Channel 5. So no, it's no good, because you're not going to get programs that are of any quality, because it's spread over all these. You know, there's only a certain amount of things that are going to be any good. But you know, we've just slipped into that sort of.
And now look, we don't even have to be there in the room to watch the TV show that's on that time. We can leave, go out, come back, and watch it a bit later on.
Well, it's madness. It is madness, because
in fact, you can watch it before it's even gone on TV. You can watch EastEnders at the beginning of the week now.
Well, you missed it. If you actually missed a program, that was it.
Yeah.
Unless they decided to rerun it, that was it. You know, you had no chance.
When did stuff like like video recorders and stuff.
Well, I
like
think that was I always am surprised when I look back and see when things have been invented and brought in, because they're usually invented a long while before they go into mass production.
Yeah.
Because I think the first ones were the Betamax ones, but that would have been in the I want to say 80s. It might have been.
That seems a bit too late for this podcast. Maybe
Yeah.
let's rewind back to the 60s.
And the other thing, right? And the other thing was about
Oh,
phones.
your finger's wagging.
Yeah, because this
Making
is
a
the thing
good
that
point.
gets me about it. And I'm very conscious of sounding like, oh, when I was little, this happened and that happened. And that I did that deliberately with my voice then, by the way. That wasn't part of the illness.
Yeah. The illness. That is you.
the telephone
That's a bit rude,
situation.
I'm sorry.
So, for instance, your mother in her house didn't have a landline. She had to either go to a neighbour's or they had to go to the telephone box down the road, right? Think of that.
Now they're only used as urinals.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We had a landline because we were obviously a little bit posher, but we only had that landline.
Sorry, when you say about mum, do you mean mum when she was young?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where she lived when she was young.
See, this is funny because you didn't have Lego and she did.
I know.
So I don't
Swings
know
and
who's the
roundabouts.
posher ones.
I had swings, she had roundabouts. No, I mean, it is weird. It is weird how things are. I mean, but a phone. So, for instance, when we were slightly older, but not that much older, myself and my brother might go out on our bikes. And we might ride our bikes about 4 or 5 miles away to the local sort of woods and...
Yeah. Okay, interesting that you're going just to the woods.
Well, I thought if I said Langdon Hills, it wouldn't mean a great deal to
no, I
anybody
didn't mean that
further
like
than-
that. I'm just meaning that just go and hang around
Country
in the
park,
woods. It just
country
sounds dodgy,
park.
doesn't
No,
it?
it was. We used to go, go and climb trees, go and try
Classic.
and be evil Knievel on our bikes terribly and like hit things and fly off and injure ourselves. But we're all right. And my mum would say to us, make sure you're back by a certain time. Now, I'm not even sure we had watches particularly. So whether we were very good at looking at where the sun was in the sky or whatever, but there was no way of contacting us.
Do you reckon you can still do that? Look at the sun in the sky. What time do you reckon it is?
I reckon it's about just gone 8. But like,
Wow. It's 1 minute past 8.
I've built, well,
Very
when you reach
impressive.
my age, you always could
And have a watch in your wrist.
have a watch and you have a look at it. But the fault, and we're all a bit overprotective nowadays as adults. But the fault of you kids at the age we were then, even now going out and we're not able to contact you, it's horrifying.
Well, this is the thing. Even now, like, and you do it because you care. I'm not saying you're overprotective or anything like that, but you do it because you care. There's been times where I've gone out, and bearing in mind, that, yes, I was slightly younger, but I was probably in my 20s. I'm 22 now.
Yeah.
Going out and meeting up with friends and forgetting to message you. And in a scenario where in your time, yes, your mum might have been a bit more like...
Yeah, and it was.
Although, let's be honest, it's still not the 1960s, is it?
No, but my point being is that
I feel like we might get in
it's
trouble
weird
for this podcast.
when you get more stuff, when technology gets more sophisticated, you become more reliant on it for everything.
Yeah.
You forget lots of other things that have happened in the past, and and let's face it, there might be a lot less traffic on the roads then, but certainly where everything else that people worry about was then there as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was less worry perhaps about what people were doing. But when I start looking at some of the other things that were happening, obviously we were very much more ignorant of what was going on. So everything was painted with lead paint.
Yeah.
So
Very
the toys
healthy.
and everything, all of it, everything had lead paint on it. Obviously, very dangerous.
Yeah,
right?
we've learned. Quite dangerous.
Asbestos everywhere. Right, asbestos was the wonder thing, the wonder product that was for insulation. All the schools had tiles up on the ceilings, everything was like that. And when we think about that now, I mean, when you have anything that's asbestos, you have to have it collected by someone
Well,
in
there's whole companies. Actually, I did my apprenticeship a number of years ago, and there was one of the people was working for a company that removes asbestos. The fact that you have a whole company, and you have to be like
They have to come out around in the bio suits and that.
And they have to be registered and stuff like that to do that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's so dangerous. Yeah, and I mean, but just people weren't aware. I know we're more sophisticated now, but people weren't aware of these things. But even like, right, I had a look, and I don't think we had as kids chemistry sets because we just wasn't into that. But when I think about that sort of thing, there was a chemistry set available that had various different sort of chemicals in it, as you'd expect in a chemical set.
Otherwise, it's very boring.
But actually, when they've looked at it now, they had all the ingredients to make a homemade bomb.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not just talking about something that might just do a little fizz and a it was a proper... It would be something you'd be arrested for being in the possession of now. Again, madness, but, you know, people weren't actually blowing up all the time as far as I know.
That's the thing. You mean, you can have all those things. You can actually go and buy those things, but the fact they're putting it in a children's chemistry set.
No, this is it. I mean, it is bizarre when you think about that sort of thing. But then people didn't really, I don't know, there wasn't that sort of worry about that sort of thing. I think it was ignorance, obviously.
People talk about health. Sorry, people talk about health and safety gone mad, but really, I don't think it's gone mad. I think people just thought, well, actually, that's not a good idea.
Well, yeah, possibly.
People go back in my day, we were able to make homemade bombs at home. You might have been able to do that, but poor Jimmy lost all his fingers.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Old Stumpy Jimmy.
Yeah, now he can't play the
clarinet
fun war or a clarinet.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know where you were going with that, so there we go. So I was looking at my actual year of birth, which is 1968. And that's when they introduced seatbelts into cars. So cars had to have seatbelts that were made from 1968. It wasn't illegal to not wear them, though.
Oh, right.
That was the front seats. It wasn't illegal to wear them.
Because I remember you having a Jeep when I was younger, and the back seats didn't have.
Oh, that was great. That Jeep.
That was a good Jeep. I always sat in the front because I was the youngest.
I'm straying again from the 60s, but 1968 was when the seatbelts were included in cars, but it was only made illegal not to wear them in 1983.
That's a lot later.
And rear seatbelts were from 1986 when a car was produced. It had to have rear seatbelts, but it was 1991 until that was made that it was absolutely legal. So,
what if a car didn't have seatbelts though?
If you had an older car, I think they were exempt from it.
So that's why we got away with it.
Classic. Well, yeah, I don't know why we got away with that. Really, I'm not sure we should have. But
there's one time I remember you taking the roof off the Jeep, and I'm sure you just left it on the side of the road, but you clearly probably didn't. No,
I don't think. I don't. That was really good, that Jeep. I like that. Oh, there we go. But, I mean, significant things. I mean, obviously, on a serious note, there was, like, quite some epic things that happened in the 60s. I mean, in American history, especially when you think of the fact that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
I mean, that wasn't the great bit, but...
No. Well, he was in tremendous...
Bit.
Yeah. And Robert Kennedy, I mean... That was in 68, both in 68. But I mean, obviously, John F. Kennedy in 63, I think I'm right. But then you've got the moon landing in 69.
Yes, the moon landings, which I do know are real.
You really believe, yeah. So Apollo 11 that was, wasn't it?
Just for clarity, I can't remember what episode that was now. It was Games, wasn't it? Games. I pretended I didn't believe in the moon landings. I do.
It was really upsetting.
I just want clarity there. I got a message from my aunt partway through her listening to it saying, "You don't believe in the moon landings?"
I'm not your godson
and I'm thinking,
anymore.
listen to the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, no, it was quite upsetting all round, wasn't it?
It was. It upset me. Yes. But anyway, carry on.
Well, no, and then, I mean, obviously that was significant. You've got the Beatles. I think the top song of 1968 was Hey Jude. Which have been lucky enough to see Paul McCartney all together on my birthday.
That was your birthday.
Wow!
Oh, it's gone full circle.
Yeah,
I was on your shoulders.
The actual single
we got kicked out of the World Cup.
Yeah, we got kicked out by Germany.
Was it World Cup or Euros?
Oh, I can't remember now. Rolling Stones with Jumpin' Jack Flash was the top single. Small Faces, Ogden's Nut Gone Flake was the best LP. The Small Faces. Ogden's Nut Gone Flake.
Is that a German band?
No, Small Faces. They're like a sort of, well, they're a 60s band now.
It sounds like a
English.
German band, though, doesn't it?
What, Small Faces?
Like Kraftwerk. Like, I'm talking about the name of the song.
Oh, the name of the album?
Album.
Ogden's Nut Gone Flake.
Yeah, it sounds like Ogden's Nut Gone Flake.
If you say it like that, it does, yeah. So what have we got? Oh, and this is what, and I'll tie this in, right? So...
Go on, tie it in.
We've already established, I think we said about games, that the top game of the year I was born was Don't Break the Ice, which was this penguin game.
Yeah.
But other things that were really popular at that time were Hot Wheels, Whirly Twirly, Silly Putty, Battling Tops, right? Now, one of the things that I've always been sort of fascinated by was my name, right? So...
What is your name?
My full name is David Paul, right? Hi.
Yes.
So... When quite early on, you know, because you're interested, where did my name come from? You know, I'm talking about my brother's name, my sister's name, and that. And then I found out that my brother and my sister picked my names, right? So it's always fascinated me that, and I thought, well, you know, my brother was only 3.
Like, you often name a pet, don't you? But
Yeah, but like to give someone that responsibility, I did speak to my mother about this. She said if they'd come up with something really daft, then they would have, you know, said no. But they come up with these names. How daft did
it need to be?
I don't know, because, you know, I mean, I haven't got no problem with my names. I'm quite happy with my names.
I might ask Nan when I next see her.
But they just go. And I said to Sue, my sister Sue, I said, how did you pick them? And she said, I think we might have had a book. I tried to, well, not sure whether they had a book or not with that. But it strikes me, it's always been a joke that they could have named me anything. So if something's popular at the time, and one of the things that they could have named me was their favourite toy, or, you know, at that point what they were playing with. And like I've just said about the favourite toys of that time, or the most popular ones, I could have been called Whirly Twirly Harding, or
nice.
I could have been. My particular favourite would have been Hot Wheels Harding. I think that's got a bit of a ring to it, and in fact, I might start calling myself that anyway now. But then, also
Hot Wheels
Harding, or Silly Putty Harding, you know. So they could have come up with something like that. But I would hope if my mum's
Whirly Harding,
Whirly Twirly,
Whirly Twirly.
It was then. I think it was like plate spinning. I think you had these sticks and you had these plastic plates and you had to twirl them. It was really simple, but like seemed to be very popular at the time. On the thing, Silly Putty, did you know that Silly Putty got taken up by the Apollo astronauts?
Yeah.
Took some to the moon for stress relief.
Stress relief?
Yeah. Because apparently it's a little bit stressful being up in a spaceship. Yeah.
Why would that be?
I don't know. There's just something about it, I guess, you know. Yeah. But yes, they took some up there, so that ties in with it as well.
That does.
Yes.
I'm named after a fake Scotsman.
You are named after a Frenchman playing a Scotsman, yes, in a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, that is you. Other people born on my birthday?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I've missed out some of the ones I didn't want to say.
This isn't strict to 1968 now, though, is it?
No, because they're different age to me anyway. Did you know, this is really cool, J.J. Abrams has got the same birthday as me.
Interesting.
He'll be, well, I think he's 66 now.
Let's add a lens flare to this.
Yeah, so just as Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, he's got the same birthday as me. Neville Longbottom, Matthew Lewis has got the same birthday as me.
Wow.
All these heroes.
All your heroes.
Khloe Kardashian has got the same.
Another one of your
another
heroes.
one of my heroes has got the same birthday as me. And when I looked at them, I'd written them down. When I looked at them, I thought, Tobey Maguire, 75? He's never 75. I realised that's the year they were born.
Right.
So, I mean, Khloe Kardashian, 84. Good
She's
God.
84 years old.
84 years old.
She does look good for it, doesn't she?
Well, she's had a lot of work done, hasn't she?
Yeah.
One of the other things we didn't mention as I was going through obviously, and it's very significant now, is the World Cup. because obviously in 1966 we had the World Cup in England,
Yes.
and West Ham won it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you remember that?
There's
No,
always.
no.
Mum was born.
It's like they
in
keep going on the
66.
1996 Euros, and I don't remember that.
Oh, classic. Don't, it'll make me cry. But that is something that I wish I'd have been born
Yeah.
when that happened. But then I guess I'd have had to have been born at the beginning of the 60s in order to perhaps even remember what was happening in 66.
And then Mum wouldn't have gone with you because she only goes for toy boys
Yeah.
that are 2 years
Gone
younger.
with me. Yes. Yeah.
And then,
so
then
you wouldn't have been born.
me, so,
And then so this wouldn't exist.
so it's all for the best, really, isn't it?
Okay, so we might start fading
And
out.
then
in a minute.
people wouldn't be able to listen to this amazing podcast, would they?
No, they
If you've
wouldn't.
frozen, something's
No,
happened.
no,
You
I was
stopped
just
for a
I
moment
did
there.
something delayed side effects from a couple of weeks ago. Woodstock 1969, quite an I don't know if you've ever watched footage of Woodstock, Jimi
Never watched
Hendrix,
footage,
and
but-
it's just incredible festival of all festivals, really. But I've only ever, again, because I mean, like I say, at the end of the decade I was 2 or 2.5, so I was never actually, no, hang on, 68, 69, I was 1.5.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to remember any of that, really, but I was born in the 60s. I
Yeah.
can say I was born in the 60s. I wish I was born in later on, so I'm younger, but unfortunately that's not
Not
the
the
case.
summer of 69, though.
No. Oh, see, that would have even
So you were in
been
the summer of 68.
which, if you'd have only written that song a year earlier or whatever.
I don't think he wrote it in.
No, I don't think he did. So, no,
No.
that's stuff. So, yes, so there you go. One of the stunning things for me, because no McDonald's.
What?
There was no McDonald's.
Wow.
Can you imagine
When was
the
it
world?
founded?
I think the first one in England was in 1974. So,
Do you remember it?
no.
No.
And I don't know, I was thinking about this, I don't know that I ever had a McDonald's before I had kids. No,
Wow.
that's a lie.
Oh, stop lying to me.
Right. I don't think I
People
ever
come
had...
to this podcast and they expect us to tell them the truth.
I realised halfway
think that's
through that.
very clear we
I
don't
think
do
I
that,
must have
but-
had. So I don't think I had a McDonald's until I was a young adult. I don't think I had one as a child. But I
Right.
think I was old enough to go and buy my own food, I would have had a McDonald's maybe then.
And when were you old enough to go and buy your own food?
Well, back then,
About
I don't know,
3?
16.
Oh.
No, I've got paper
You're,
rounds.
you're old enough to work by about 4, aren't you?
Well, I was down the pit from about 12, and then lots of mining in Basildon,
Yeah.
and there you go.
What was they mining for?
Burberry,
Yeah.
shell suits, things like that. There was a big want for all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And half it wasn't built at that point either.
no, because it's a new town. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm born and bred.
You were born in bread.
Born and bred.
What kind of
put
bread?
me in-
Baguette?
Yeah, I rose. No, I was actually born in the
House.
house in Basildon that your nan
Still lives in.
still lives in.
Born in the front bedroom.
Born in the front bedroom, home birth, proper Basildonian.
I was born at that hospital just over there.
Yes.
That if I'm going to look out the window
You could see it, yes.
and I could probably see it.
Yes.
I came home the same day.
But there you go. Don't remember much of it, 60s, but certainly born in it.
It's all right. My episode of the 90s will be just as interesting.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
So
Isn't it?
you'll know a lot about that. But
That'd be, we could rave.
yeah.
We could have one that's just a
We
rave.
could get Will Smith on.
We could record this in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah. What do you
An
think about
illegal rave.
What do you think about getting Will Smith on?
I think that's problematic unless we can actually get the proper Will Smith on.
Not just someone called William Smith.
Well, no, we could get someone called William Smith on, but if Will Smith was to appear and it wasn't Will Smith, it could be problematic.
Right.
If you know
that's
what I
a
mean.
Yes.
Yes. And now to round off
this half of the podcast, here's a song by an unknown artist from the 60s.
It's very good.
I was born in the 60s, low, I don't remember it. Wasn't the drugs. I was born at the end, I'm so old. Feeling so old. Ooh, got a lot less hair and my eyesight's poor. I'm always forgetting when I walk through the door. I'm so old. I'm just so old. I've got a prostate the size of an elephant's leg. Spend more time on the toilet than I do in my own bed. I got zero patience, I'm a miserable git. Like midsummer murders and I dribble a bit. I'm getting old. So old. So old.
Game time.
Woohoo! Right then, Dad. We're on to a game now. It's game time.
It is game time.
Did a bit of a quiz last week for Father's Day and about the fact that I'm your favourite child.
Not sure that's how it turned out.
No,
but
it turned out Becky trying to worm her way
She
into...
rigged it, yeah.
But anyway, this week you have prepared something since you've been ill and had time off.
I have. I'm not sure how good it is, but there we go.
You did write it very, very much unwell.
Yes, so anything could happen.
Drugged
I could
up.
start reading this and it could make no sense, but that's not going to be any different from anything else. So, we've got a sting. Would you like to play the sting and then I'll explain
thank
it?
you.
No?
No? Yeah, actually,
What?
let's play it.
Let's play the sting. Go for it.
There was a time not so long ago when no one ate salad and at Christmas we got cold. When nobody knew where anyone was, 'cause mobiles weren't invented yet. GPS.
What a very, very nice sting that was.
Very nice sting. Very,
Very,
very, nice.
very
sting.
nice.
Okay, quiz this week, right?
Quiz.
I thought what I'll do is when looking back and thinking what we had then, perhaps technology, games, anything else wise, and what we've got now, I thought what I'd do is I'd look at a few inventions, a few things that have been invented. That's what people do when they make inventions.
Generally, most of the time.
And I want you to decide whether they are AD, after David,
Oh.
or BD, before David.
But you've not died.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is after David, after 1968,
Right.
or before David, before 1968.
All
What's
right.
the problem with that? I think it's fairly simple.
Yeah. I think the BD's really good before David.
Yeah. After David was born, then I'll have in brackets.
Maybe
yeah?
AB after birth.
No, that's even worse. You can't
Oh,
say,
no, you can't say after
no.
birth. No.
Well, you can, but yeah, don't really want to, do you?
No.
Anyway, let's kick this off because you've already ruined it.
Are we going based on months?
Now we're going on years.
All right.
And-
so none of
and-
them are from the same year then.
They're fairly rough as well. Don't expect anything to. Right, we're going to kick this off, right?
Are you saying this won't be factual?
It is factual,
Right.
But I'm going on. I've only done I've not really a deep dive on this. I've gone scraped the surface.
He's got a
of it to try and-
Wikipedia, and then if it doesn't match up the date, he's changed the date.
Yes. I'm taking a swallow there because I thought I was going to cough. I am going to cough.
Are you going to cough?
Right.
I probably should have paused the recording then, shouldn't I?
Okay, but you're going to take that out.
Yeah, I'll take that out.
Yeah, okay. Right, first, here we go then. First one. Okay. What? Let's go for doggles.
Doggles?
Doggles. Doggles. Do you need to know more information first off?
Goggles for dogs?
Goggles for dogs. Straight in there.
Excellent.
So, they've developed goggles for dogs, right?
Yeah.
Why would they develop goggles for dogs, do you reckon?
To make you try and step up in your words, because you're really struggling to say goggles for dogs.
Yeah, I know.
Why would they
Yeah.
create... I think goggles for dogs are for working dogs of some
Right.
kind. Maybe... I'm trying to think what ones might need it. Maybe like fire dogs, like stop getting ash in
Now,
their eyes
see,
and
that
stuff
certainly
like that.
has developed out of that. But originally, they were designed for dogs when they stick their head out the window, that they didn't have anything that hit them in the eyes. Right? Because
Right.
you know how a dog likes to stick its head
I
out
would
the
have
window.
thought they'd gone with the occupational reason first.
Well, not
It's
as
like
far as I
military
know.
GPS, and then we get GPS.
Yeah. Not as far as I know, and I don't know that there was a massive problem with dogs getting things in their eyes when they looked at, because they tend to do it and not have any
A
problems.
lot of the time with animals, people worry that they're more worried. Like it's like when you go to a zoo, and you look at something that's got a brick. You think you've got a brick wall. They need to make it look nicer. Yes, it'd be good if they have some greenery and stuff like that.
It still
but
looks like a brick wall.
at
to
the
them,
same
yeah.
time, it's still going to be absolutely nothing to them.
Okay.
It's more for us.
So certainly now they're used for that. But so doggles,
And
I-
also when they're trying to fly planes.
yeah, like Snoopy.
Yeah.
So AD or BD?
AD.
You're absolutely right. It's 1997.
Excellent.
So that
Year
is
before I was
AD.
born.
Yeah. So let's have another one then. Let's look at this one. This
I hope there's
invention.
another one, because otherwise it's a very short quiz.
It's called cat mew.
Cat mew.
CAT, new word, MEW. What do you think that is?
Cat mew. That's the noise they make, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah,
Cat mew.
that's right.
Is that kind of got a relation to it?
Yeah.
Cat mew. Is it a musical instrument?
No. What it is, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I'm only going to get you one chance to guess what it is.
Yep. We ain't got time.
It's a machine that looks a little bit like a cat. Its eyes light up and it makes a mewing sound to scare off rats and mice.
Right.
So apparently sold tons of them. Is that going to be a BD or an AD?
You know what? Sold tons of them. Don't think they worked out all that great. They realised just something else can work better.
What,
B-
like a cat?
Yeah. BD.
It is BD. 1963 that was.
'Cause it sounds like a terrible invention. No offence to those
It
people
looked
back
like
then.
a terrible invention as well. It looked really, really diabolical. And it did, every time I thought to myself, well, why wouldn't you just get a cat?
Just get a cat.
You get a cat.
What if you don't like
okay.
cats?
What about this
What
one
if
then?
you don't like cats? Get a cat mew.
Deal with it then. Get cat mew, yeah. What about a pet rock?
Now I remember hearing about this. This is like there was a craze of people having pet rocks.
Right, so they were sold as pets, pet rocks, and you got them in a box with holes in so the rock could breathe.
Yeah,
And-
obviously they need
and
to breathe.
instructions how to care for your rock and how to make sure that
It's like-
it survived.
Father Ted when he has the brick.
Brick, yeah. So pet rock. So you knew straight away what it was. It says what it does.
I'm
What it
gonna
says on the
say-
tin.
AD, and I'm going to say 1970s.
Wow, Connor, you're good at this. It is AD and it's 1975.
Oh, 1970s was pretty much bang on because
But
it's
they
halfway.
were hugely popular. Sorry, I'm moving a little
You
bit.
are
I know.
moving a little bit, aren't you?
I know.
Not
They
very
were hugely popular. Unbelievably so, but were hugely popular. Anyway, let's move on then. Let's go for one that you're going to know. Etch a Sketch.
You winked at me then.
Did I?
Yeah.
I can't actually see you because I haven't got my glasses on. So, right.
Etch a Sketch.
Etch a Sketch.
Um,
See, I'm. You know what an Etch a Sketch is anyway,
Yeah.
don't you? See, I've got an issue with Etch a Sketches anyway, because they always
What's
seem
your
like
issue?
a fantastic idea and a fantastic toy.
Toy.
But I find them incredibly annoying to use
They are difficult to use, yeah.
because the sheer nature of them means that you can't really draw a picture on them.
Yeah. Unless you are Buddy the Elf.
Oh yeah, Buddy Elf. That's not quite that though, is it?
No. Etch-a-Sketch. I feel like Mum's spoken about it. I'm actually stuck with this one. I'm wondering whether it's 70s or 60s. I'm going to go with... Because I feel like Mum had them as a kid, so I'm going to go with AD.
So you're going with AD for Etch-a-Sketch.
I'm going to go with early 70s as well.
Well, you're wrong. It's 1960.
Oh, I was
So
close
it was
to the 60s.
before David.
Was it early 60s?
1960.
Oh, right,
According
yeah.
to what I looked, so very early 60s.
Yeah, very early. The
Can't
earliest
get much
you can
earlier
get.
than that, yeah.
January
Although I wasn't
1st.
sure what time of the year it was, but
Oh,
1960 all the same. Right, here's one. Compact discs.
Compact discs. AD.
AD?
AD.
No. BD. Now, this is one before David, 1965. And the reason being is that, like many things, they were around.
I thought they were made in the 80s.
Yeah, they were actually mass produced, and you would start getting music on them and getting all other sorts of things on them. But they actually existed before that.
Oh, right, fair
And
enough.
even while I'm saying this, I'm not even believing.
No.
Perhaps I actually wrote this down when I was at my most feverish. But Connor's going to look it up now on good
I
old
don't know
Google.
what you're talking about.
But don't, because I don't want you looking up anything else.
I'm not. I'm just maybe typing in. But yeah, carry on. Because I feel like it was AD.
So I'm saying BD for that, before David. I'm saying 1965.
The CD was invented in 1979.
What?
Yeah, apparently. So,
No. I'm going to have to relook at that then.
yeah,
So I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
sure.
I don't believe anything. Everything's a lie now. Now turn that off. Right. What about a smoke detector?
Smoke detector. Do you know what's in a smoke detector? Do you know what chemical it is?
No.
No, neither do I.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, I think I do. I seem to remember it being Americanium or something like that.
What? That didn't make sense what you just said then.
No, there's something. No, Americanium or something like that.
Americanium?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. I used to know it, but it's because the half-life of it, that the way it would be... Is it the half-life? I think it would be blocked off as it lets off it's electron sensor or something like that.
You're
Anyway,
waving your arms about a lot there,
Yeah, I know.
making no sense. Right, okay, so smoke detector. You've got many houses now.
oh yes. The question was, when was the smoke detector
Yeah,
invented?
AD or BD?
AD.
AD?
Yeah, lots of houses burned down. BD.
Yeah? They're all made of straw. You are right. But do you want to guess what sort of year we're talking about?
1969.
Yes. Did you just look that
No,
up?
I didn't. I didn't look that up.
Yeah, 1969. Although I don't believe anything I've written down there. Okay, let's move on then. What about the baby mop?
What? What's that?
Baby mop.
What's that?
It's
Don't repeat it.
a thing that a baby wears. Because babies, what do babies do when they're first moving?
Is it a wig for a baby?
No. They move about, they crawl about, don't they, on the floor?
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. AD.
So they have a
I
onesie
thought it was
with
a
a mop.
90s thing.
A mop on it. It is a 90s thing. It is after David. You're absolutely right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
not bad
thing
at
that
this.
babies had, that onesies that had the mop thing on them, because they just crawled about on the floor. It was a good way of letting them exercise and cleaning up at the same time.
But also you're getting everything over your child.
Yeah, unbelievably stupid, but there we go. Most of these are.
Just
What
before
about
they go on the floor.
a detachable dog sack?
What?
A detachable dog sack.
Is this after they're neutered or...
No, What do you think a detachable dog sack is anyway?
Is it something like a poo bag that a dog can poo directly into?
No, and I've tried to patent that.
I had an idea about that.
Yeah,
years
but
ago.
I can't iron out some of the
I thought of
gremlins in my design.
I thought of a conveyor belt that moves one poo bag to the next. Like, so he poos into the poo bag drops because of the weight of the poo, and the conveyor belt moves the next one over the bum hole.
It does involve having a conveyor belt on a
Yeah.
dog, though, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the detachable dog sack.
Right.
No?
Well, I'm going to guess... It sounds like a silly invention, a bit like cat mew, so I'm going to go BD.
Right, so you don't want to know what it is first?
Yeah, I would like to know what it is first.
Okay, Connor, I'll tell you what it is then. It's this sort of hammock sort of thing that you'd have attached through your window of your car, and it would hang outside the window of your car and down on the door, and it would have holes in it for the legs of the dog, and the dog would travel outside of your car but secured to the side of your car with its feet on the running board.
This sounds like the opposite invention of putting seatbelts in cars. So I'm going to go BD.
It is the opposite, yeah, and the fact that I said running boards probably give it away. Apparently, it was in the 1940s, so it was very much before David. But yes, that was an actual thing.
Those dogs dead now.
Well, if they weren't killed by them being in the detachable dog sack, which didn't look like it.
Was there permanent dog sacks then?
Oh, yeah, no, they moved on from there. This was the upgrade to the permanent
dog sacks.
dog sack, yeah. Okay, what about flip-flops?
Flip-flops? Oh, this is actually quite difficult, because sandals have been around a long time. Jesus wore sandals, maybe.
He did. Jesus.
Oh, I don't know. This feels like a more... It's one of those things that feels modern, but I feel like the actual original design might have been a bit more... I'm going to go BD.
Well, it is BD. I mean, although there were variations back sort of 4,000
not the
years
foam
ago.
version.
So it was very much...
Not the foam version.
But things actually called flip-flops were in 1960. So obviously there was sandals, they were called different things anyway, thongs and that in different countries anyway. But actual flip-flops
I was trying to think of the Australian word for it then.
were
but
1960. So there you go, you're right on that one as well.
I'm great at this.
What about the anti-pervert hairy stockings?
Oh, we've had this before, have we not?
I don't.
Have we just
can't remember
spoken
that.
about the anti-pervert stockings?
I don't remember.
Oh, no, I feel like it might have been... Aren't they stockings that have got hair on them?
They are stockings that got hair on
Yeah,
them.
they're like a Japanese invention, aren't they?
Chinese invention.
Chinese invention. I'm very sorry. Right. These are BD.
Well, they are AD because they're after I was born. They were developed in sort of 2013 in China. So the women... Now, you think about this, and especially as it's 2013, right? When you look back at the detachable dog sack in the 40s, well, lots of things happened then that you think, what? But in 2013, a Chinese inventor, decided that to stop the only way to stop a man who was a pervert from harassing women
Looking up the
was
skirts.
for the women to look what they considered to be uglier,
Yeah.
which meant having really, really... And I've seen these stockings, and they are proper hairy legs. They're not just a little bit of hair
Not
on
checking
them.
the Google history, no?
No. Yeah. Hairy stocking legs.
Stopped you looking at them, did it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just every kind of wrong. Every kind of wrong about that. But
No, 'cause
apparently they've...
At the same time, there's in some cultures that's really quite attractive to have hairy legs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the women having hairy legs, but
No,
I guess...
But it's the fact that they think that's the way of tackling perverts.
I think the way of tackling perverts is stopping the perverts.
Exactly, yeah. My God. Anyway. And the last one I've got on here...
Oh,
Yeah, sorry about
I've
that.
enjoyed this game.
This is the 11th one. Is the brush and
Strange number to stop on.
I know. Is the brush and shine?
Brush and shine.
Yeah.
Is brush N with apostrophe either side?
Brush and shine.
Oh, it is an and.
Yeah.
All right, brush and shine. Is it something to do with shoe shining?
No.
Is it something to do with shining something?
Yeah.
Is it something to do with shining a bald head?
Kind of. So why would it be a brush and shine?
Is it for... Oh, is it like a toupee kit?
So basically, it's a tool for the partially bald. Now, I don't know how this would work. I saw the picture and the person who was modelling it, and basically it's like a brush that's been sort of arched over your head, so half of your head covered. The first half of the brush is a brush. The second half of it is like a chamois leather, and the whole idea is to brush your hair while buffing up your bald spot. Now that assumes that everybody's bald spot is exactly on the top of their head. Now I know that traditionally that's where you start going bald, but plenty of people are bald, So when would that have been developed?
Sounds really funny, but we said about telling this story about this man I was picturing Grumps, which is my nan's my granddad. I'm picturing him with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If I'd have known, I'd have got him one. But yeah, a brush and shine.
I reckon he would have loved it.
He was. I tell you exactly what he'd have said about it.
Yeah, but we can't say it on here. I reckon it was a BD. I reckon it's one of the strange cat new inventions.
Yeah, 1950s. It was very much before David. Right.
But in Grumps' time...
Well, it's still relevant today, isn't it? That's the thing. The only other thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about flip-flops...
flip-flops.
...was there's something that's relatively new that's been invented. And it's a flip-flop that has got grass on it. Right, so when you put your feet in it, it's like you're walking barefoot on grass.
Right.
So obviously they can't use real grass, so they use artificial grass on it. So you can actually get flip-flops that have got artificial grass on the bit that you put your foot onto, like the, top bit of it, so that you can feel like you're walking on grass.
Right. I've got an alternative to that.
What, walk on grass with bare
walk
feet?
On grass.
Yeah, on real grass. Then you get the proper feeling of walking on grass rather than the artificial feeling of walking on grass when you're not walking on grass.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
All right, thank you for that, Dad. I really enjoyed that game. It was actually a really fun one.
You done better than I thought.
I did better than I thought I would as well, but that was actually quite interesting. I learnt quite a lot as well as actually...
Well, there was a lot of moments when
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
I've got to be honest, probably in bed going, what the... when I read something, right, that's going in. But yes, some interesting ones there.
Yeah, and with that, there were some bits which might have been slightly wrong, like the CDs and stuff like that. We don't know. We'll have to look into that a bit further. But I think it just goes to show that sometimes we might make mistakes, and sometimes we might say things thinking they might not be entirely true. But would you complain about that? No,
not deliberately.
I
wouldn't. I'd think that's really petty to complain about something so trivial, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I would have thought so. But
I don't even know if I know anybody that would.
Apparently, Sam thinks it's okay to just complain about things.
No way.
I know. So, we have had an email from Mr. Sam this week.
Oh, yeah, we don't say people's surnames,
We don't say people's surnames. You tried to once before, but...
And you had to bleep me out, yeah. Okay.
So, this is my sister's boyfriend, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
They just recently moved into a flat. Yeah. So, the subject, Murder Mysteries podcast.
Where he lives.
Obviously in relation... Well, no, where he lives. It's obviously in relation to the Murder Mysteries podcast, episode 20.
What possibly could be wrong with that?
Well... I'll tell you what's wrong. Hi, father and son. That's us.
Yeah.
Your father, I'm son.
I am.
Another great podcast as usual. Starting off nice. I like that.
Yeah, buttering us up, is he?
Yeah. However,
is that in capital letters?
Yeah, no, it's not. I've had to interrupt it to complain about false allegations that I cheated whilst playing Cluedo in the Cotswolds. While it is correct that I won within 3 turns, show off, I can confirm that I did not drop my pencil once, and therefore look up at everyone's answers. Deep down, I know both of you know I won fair and square, which is why you're expecting this complaint. Yours faithfully, the avid listener. P.S. Thanks for the shout out and letting everyone know I won Cluedo within a couple turns. Roll on next week's podcast. Well,
Right.
at the time of recording, that's already come out, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's address this.
Okay. So how do we want to start this?
Well,
one?
firstly, I want to say, barely any of what we say in the podcast could be taken. I wouldn't take it as gospel, any of it, to start off with.
And yeah, look, we don't deliberately go around trying to spread rumour and false truths and such like. We don't. That's not what we come on here to do. Unfortunately, because of the way we prepare for this, not really preparing, sometimes things happen. And a classic example would be that I'm going to have to go back and look why I had in my mind that CDs were developed far earlier than they were. Right, but
There might be something like that, but yeah, carry on.
we don't do it deliberately. There's no malice in it. There's, it actually upsets me to think that anything that I say might be misconstrued and would upset someone else.
Unless you've purposely meant to upset them.
Unless I purposely meant to do it.
Yeah.
Saying all that, right, with all that considered, and Sam, I mean, I'm going to say this from my heart directly to you. You did cheat that day because there's no way I've never known anybody be able to get in 3 tons. And I'll tell you what, right, if you didn't drop your pencil, something else occurs to me. You're and I mean this most sincerely, you're always...
Most silly.
Most sincerely, did I say silly?
Most sincerely.
You're always dressed really well, impeccably dressed, always look good. You're a sharp fella. You really are. We all aspire to look like you. So I imagine you buffed your shoes up to the point where you could see your face in them, and that's probably how you did it. But and
it was a glass table, so
it was a glass table. There was some sort of reflective surfaces. Perhaps he'd been using the brush and whatever that was, and he'd been doing his shoes, and he could see that. So.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry you feel like that, Sam. But
yeah, it's a bit.
But I'm not backing down.
Yeah, it's one of those things that he doth deny it too much or something like that.
He what?
That thing about saying if you deny something too much.
Yeah. You protest too much.
Doth protest too much.
Doft protest too much. What are you talking?
Hey Sam, you doth protest too much. What? But I think that was our complaint from Sam. I will say though, he does say it's a great podcast. He's an avid listener. He says thank you for giving him a shout out. So
yeah, Sam,
thank you Sam for listening.
Yeah, you're a great bloke. You've got great hair.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced you didn't cheat that day.
You look like Stones.
Yeah, John Stones.
John Stones.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for the correspondence. We did say anything coming through.
We did say
didn't we?
that.
So, yeah.
So just to briefly go over that, anything on our website, we've got fatherandsundays.com. If you go onto the contact us page, you can leave your own message like that, whether it be a complaint, whether it be something positive, a suggestion, a question, anything like that. Please do it. It's great. It's great fun for us as well. And I assume it's great for you. I can't guarantee it.
You're talking to me now?
No, I'm talking about them.
Oh, right then.
All right.
No, okay.
But yeah, so if you want to do that, that's great. And because Sam's recently got as well, it was his birthday recently as well, and he got a neck thing which had Father and Sundays on it, which I don't know about you, but you've got one as well, haven't you?
I have. I don't know what they call them. I call them like...
It's like a neck gaiter, they call them.
Yeah. But they're like almost like a snood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
sort of thing.
I love them. Masks.
I love them. Yeah.
Use them as a neck.
Especially at the moment, they're great. But yes, I have my own father and son days. I always have to say that. Neck gaiter, as does Sam now.
And I've got my own Father and Sundays t-shirt. You've got your own Father and Sundays t-shirt. And you know what? You could have your own Father and Sundays t-shirt as well. Because... brand new on our website, we have now got a store. I mean,
can you believe it?
Can you believe it? In all seriousness, we have just opened up a store which we've been working on, which only has 8 items at the moment on it, but there is the intention of adding more. We've got stickers, which I'd suggest as an add-on item. mugs, or one mug at the moment, intention to add more, 2 t-shirt styles kind of thing, same style but whatever,
Yep.
hat and
The gator.
neck thing. Yeah. We've got those. If you go onto our store, you can buy them, and it is a great way of, it sounds a bit funny, but we do this for fun. We do this for a laugh, but it's a great way of showing your appreciation. If you want to, there's no guarantee. You don't have to do it,
No,
but
you don't have
it's
to
also
do
a way of just like,
It's out there. Look,
it's out there.
we
It
do
helps us
we do pump a
continue.
little bit of money in to carry on doing this because we have to buy bits and pieces to make it happen and all the rest of it. It might not seem like it, but we do. So it just is something out there. We did it for ourselves again.
Yeah,
we had
we
a few
wanted the
bits,
t-shirts.
but obviously, if anybody does want anything, then it's great. And we've actually had those items, so we know the quality of them is pretty
actually, it full on the way we got them produced. It actually genuinely surprised me. There's a blog post actually on the website that, by the time this episode goes out, the blog post will be on the website. And
good.
we've
Make
spoke
sure.
about
Make
some
sure.
of the
Have a
items.
look at that anyway.
We've
It's
got-
worth having a look.
Worth having a look. We've got some of the photos of some of the items on there as well. But actually, if you did fancy buying anything, for 1 month from today up until the 27th of July, you can go on there and you can get 10% off.
10% off.
10% off of your order.
We must be mad.
I know. 10% off by using the code OPEN10, which is for the opening. So OPEN10 will get you 10% off. OPEN 10. 10. So yes, if you're able to do that, if you want to do that, I mean, absolutely fantastic. But
10%?
10%
Daylight robbery.
There is. But yeah, that's it for that. And I think that's about it then, isn't it, Dad?
I think it might be, actually.
Yeah.
And I have managed... we have a big high five after this and then sanitize our hands, because I've actually managed to get through the entire podcast with only coughing once.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And I usually cough a lot more
And
when there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, you normally cough much more. But yeah, that's
Anybody, all I'd say is anybody wants any personal messages recorded for anything, there's a limited time. I'm hoping to get rid of this voice in the next week or so, but if anybody wants any special messages sent through, I'm available to do so.
Genuinely, if someone wants that, put it on the website on the contact us page.
Oh, yeah,
We'll do
yeah.
it.
We'll do anything
Put it
really.
in next week's podcast.
Okay.
Or maybe
Alright.
not next week's, maybe the week after.
Maybe the week after.
But yeah, so thank you very much for listening. Have you got anything else you want to say apart from your sexy voice?
My sexy voice. I don't even know if it's coming out like that, but it's definitely a little bit
Yeah, it's a bit deeper.
Gravelier? Yeah, anyway, a bit more Barry White.
Should we do the end of this podcast in a deep voice?
Well, I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing.
You sound like Maui now. Right, so for the rest of the podcast, I'll speak like this with a bit of voice crack.
Yeah, you see, your voice cracks when you do that. My
Yeah.
voice doesn't.
All right. Anyway, as always, we've got social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Remember to follow us, like us on those. Remember to send in messages
Yep.
on the website.
All of that.
Subscribe on all the different platforms.
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't have to do all of them. You can pick and choose which ones you
Yeah,
do.
don't feel you have to spend all your time just looking at the same
Listen
thing
to us
over
on
again. Yeah.
Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, just so you
iTunes,
got the full
everything like
set.
that. No, just only one will do.
Yeah.
That's fine. Actually, leave a review if you want to. You can do that on iTunes, I believe, and some of the others. Leave a review. That's great if you can do that. But yeah, that's it for this podcast.
Leave a review.
Leave
Right,
a review,
okay.
and it's all free.
It's all free.
Apart from the stuff, on the
stuff on the
website.
website,
But
Okay.
anyway, that's the close, not the other stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for listening again this week. Sorry about the ramble at the end, but we'll work on it for next week.
Yeah.
Hope you
Okay.
have a great week until then.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Hey, happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy birthday. I forgot to say happy birthday to Dad. It's his birthday, so happy birthday, Dad.
Oh, what a surprise. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.